Hey, what is going on, guys? UFC 290 just wrapped up, and man, that was an amazing card. That is one of the best cards I have ever seen in my entire life. You start with some amazing fights on the early prelims, and just before I begin, my predictions for this fight were terrible, and I apologize to any viewers that took my advice. I'm sorry. I did my best, and I'll try to do better in the future, but that was unexpected. You got Robbie Lawler getting a knockout 38 seconds. People are calling it rigged, and the first time I watched it, I was like, man, could be a little rigged, but I rewatched it, and I'm like, Robbie slept him badly. You got Bo Nickel, who didn't even need his wrestling. He knocked out Val Woodbourne in 38 seconds. Mind you, Robbie Lawler knocked out his opponent, Nico Price, in 38 seconds as well. Two back-to-back 38-second finishes, both by knockout in the first round. Bo Nickel looked incredible. Robbie Lawler looked incredible. Everyone on this card looked absolutely incredible. And this was International Fight Week. Like, we've had International Fight Weeks before that haven't been the best. Where other cards that aren't as stacked on paper outshine them. This was one of the, if not the best International Fight Weeks I've ever seen. And this is one of my favorite cards of all time. Let's just start from the top. We have Alexander Volkanovski finishing Yair Rodriguez in the third round via ground and pound. And this is a fight where, leading up to the fight, I was going flip-flop, back and forth. Am I going Volkanovski? Am I going Yair? And Volkanovski shut down my doubts in the first round of this fight. And, this is a fight where I was like, man, Yair's got the kicks and Volk doesn't defend that well. Even though Volk doesn't defend that well, he still did very well to evade the kicks in this fight. He was still moving out of the way. He was still leaning away. He was still, at some point just keeping, one hand on the side of his face to defend, which is very frightening against a guy like Yair. But he shut down Yair. In the third round, Yair did have that resurgence, and it looked like, okay, Volk's trying to stand with him. We know that Volk likes to play into his opponent's games. He tried to take down Islam Makhachev. He tries to box Max Holloway, and he's usually successful at it. And he tried to kickbox with Yair Rodriguez. He wasn't throwing a lot of kicks other than that leg kick, but he was still trying to stay in Yair's range and just kind of prove a point, make a statement. I can do whatever the fuck I want, and I'm still going to win. So, man, Volkanovski just looked absolutely incredible in this fight, and this is one of the best performances of his entire career. He did take some damage in this fight. He was cut open by the elbow in the first round, but he put a beating. He put a beating on Yair Rodriguez and broke him. And the first round, I thought it was a 10-8. Volk starts the fight. Yair gets in a kind of a flurry, gets taken down. Second round, same exact thing. Yair gets in a flurry, gets taken down, ground and pound him badly. And like I said, Volk was cut open in that first round, but it was a 10-8 in my opinion. Second round, you could give it a 10-8. It is what it is. Yair had some moments on the feet at the beginning of the round, but Volk kind of just dominated past then. So you could give it a 10-8, you could give it a 10-9. No difference, but it was a Volkanovski round. Third round, Volkanovski opened up. He had that huge left hand that he landed, but Yair came back and started really landing on him. He was landing those hard leg kicks. He was landing, 1-2 leg kick combos. He was throwing that spinning kick to the body. He was landing some head kicks on Volk. And Volk, he was eating them. Volk at no point in this entire fight looked like he was in danger at all. He ate every single shot and wasn't even remotely wobbled. But then you have the finishing sequence. After Volkanovski's beat him up for 2 rounds, he proved I can take him down and ground and pound. I can threaten submissions. Maybe I could even submit him later in the fight. He went out there, fought in kickboxing range, and still won. The finishing sequence, Yair Rodriguez steps in for a body kick in the southpaw stance, and he drops his far hand from his chin to generate more power. Volkanovski switches from orthodox to southpaw, neglecting the kick and stepping in range, taking off the power of that kick. See, when you get kicked or when you're defending a kick, you either want to get out of range or you want to get way too far in range. You never want to get hit by the end of the kick. And Volkanovski stepped in range and switched stances as he did it to generate even more power in that massive hook he landed. Rocked Yair badly, followed him up against the fence. Excellent fight IQ, was ripping to the body, ripping uppercuts to the body, followed by uppercuts to the head. Took Yair down with a massive slam and finished him with ground and pound. A phenomenal performance. Volkanovski, I'm sorry about that. Volkanovski shut down the haters. He shut down the doubters. And I know there's some people crying out there. I feel very bad for Yair Rodriguez after this fight, but I am so impressed with what Volkanovski was able to do. If Volkanovski would have lost, I would have felt sad for him. I would have been happy for Yair. Volkanovski won. I'm sad for Yair, and I'm happy for Volk. No matter what, I love the two guys. They're so good at fighting. They're so exciting, and they put on a show for us. Co-main event: Brandon Moreno versus Alexandre Pantoja. This is a fight where I thought this would go I thought this was a very predictable fight. I thought that Alexandre would have a lot of success early. He'd be grappling Moreno. He'd be doing his thing, but he'd gas out just like he did in the Askar fight. Just like he's had in other fights. He's gassed out. He looked a little sloppy when he fought Brandon Royval in that second round. He looked like he started to fade a little bit. But no matter what, these two men are warriors, and both of them proved it tonight. Even though he was gassed, he was still able to take down Brandon Moreno multiple times and find the back in dominant positions. I don't like that they didn't do a lot with the positions at some points in the fight, but if I was the ref, I wouldn't have broken that up either. It's a title fight. That's exactly what Alexander Pantoja needs, and he was still threatening at times. So, it is annoying that at some points it was boring, and he did have the huge groin shot in, I believe, the second round. I'm sorry if I made a mistake there. I believe it was in the second round. But that fight was not a robbery, no matter what. The scorecards were terrible in my opinion. But I'm sad for Brandon Moreno, and I'm happy for Alexander Pantoja. I think they need to run that back. I think everyone thinks they need to run that back. That was such an exciting fight, such an exciting event. 5 rounds of brutal war. 5 rounds of absolute war and chaos from those two. If you don't want to see that fight run back, you're either someone that hates Brandon Moreno, or you're completely delusional, or you're both. And if you hate Brandon Moreno, you're delusional. So no matter what, you fit in both those categories. But man, I'm so happy. I'm so excited. Moving on to the featured fight on the card: Robert Whittaker versus Dricus du Plessis. The S is silent. This was the most shocking fight on the card. And I know that on this channel, I predicted Robert Whittaker via, I believe, 3rd round TKO. I'm uncertain. I need to go check it back. I've forgotten everything. That card was so wild it wiped my memory. But I picked Robert Whittaker via TKO. I had already posted that video. I went on Verdict, and you guys can check my Verdict account. I'll probably throw it in the comments or something if one of you guys asks. But I did Dricus du Plessis via 2nd round TKO on Verdict. My picks for Tapology had already locked, so unfortunately I was not able to go back and change that up. But I did pick Dricus via 2nd round TKO, and my prediction came almost perfectly. When I was talking to my friends, talking to my boys, right before the fight started, I said, I think Robert Whittaker is going to be the one getting the better. He's going to get the jab, but I think that Dricus is going to overpower him at moments. I said Dricus is going to steal his takedown defense. What did he do? He stole his takedown defense. Basically, go watch MMA Joey's live stream about this. He was talking about the fight in a great way. I don't want to seem like I'm copying off of him, but he spoke about this fight in a way that, and also Joe Rogan in the same way spoke about this fight. And I don't want to copy off their words, but there's really no other way to put it. Dricus du Plessis big brothered Robert Whittaker. He bullied him. He literally bullied him. Robert Whittaker had nothing for him other than the 1-2 high kick and the jab, which wasn't doing anything. The 1-2 high kick, I believe he landed it twice, and it was successful both times, but Dricus just ate it. He ate that for breakfast, dude. He didn't even look phased. Same thing with Volkanovski in the Yair fight. And, takes him down, bloodies him up on the ground, lands some massive elbows. And I was like, man, and I saw the scorecard, I saw the live betting lines, and I was like, holy crap, Dricus is equal to Rob. I still think Rob is up. He was, in my opinion, you can still give him the 1st round. I personally gave Dricus the 2nd round, but I was like, man, that's surprising. I did not expect Rob to go from a -400 to Dricus to go from a +385 to a -115 even to Rob in just 1 round. That was crazy to me. It was shocking. But I'd still picked him by 2nd round TKO. And he goes out there in the 2nd round, basically the same thing as the 1st round up until this finishing sequence. Dricus lands a jab from the southpaw stance and kind of shells up because he's expecting Rob to return. Little does he know, Rob had just been dropped. Rob got dropped badly and stood up awkwardly. It looked like a very awkward stand-up, and obviously he's hurt, so of course it's going to look weird, but, Rob stood up very awkwardly, and Dricus was like, holy shit, I just hurt him badly. Follows him up against the cage, lands some brutal hooks. He was landing to the body, which is very intelligent. He was landing to the body, landing to the head, mixing it up very well. Rob eventually goes down, and I knew. Once Rob stood up from getting knocked down the first time, I knew it was done. I knew it was done. It was so wild watching. I was screaming my head off at my boys. And before I continue, I just want to take this time to show appreciation for MMA as a sport, because I feel like people that watch MMA, we're just like, oh yeah, it's MMA. We need to truly appreciate how phenomenal this sport is. No other sport in the world is as exciting as this. No other sport is two grown men going out there and punching each other in the face, trying to kill each other legally, and just putting on absolute performances, absolute wars, absolute shows. No other sport is like this. You don't get this out of basketball. You got LeBron James flopping, all that kind of stuff. And you got these other sports, and I still watch some other sports sometimes, but I like MMA. This is MMA. Dricus finishing Rob. Alexander Pantoja and Brandon Moreno going to war. That is MMA, and I am so appreciative of it. I love it. It's the greatest sport of all time. So I'm so happy that these fights happened. I'm so happy and so proud of these athletes tonight. They did so well. Even the ones that lost, I'm happy for them because they put on a show tonight. But continuing, once Rob stood up from that, I knew it was over. I knew how badly he was hurt, and I'm not saying that like I'm some genie. I knew. I think everyone knew, and it was wild watching. And Dricus goes out there and basically bulldozes. Like there's no other way to put it. He bulldozed Robert Whittaker, and this is just an interesting thing. Before I'm not attacking anyone here. Do not try to cope if you are a Robert Whittaker fan. I love Robert Whittaker. He's one of my favorite fighters of all time. He's so exciting. He's so fun. He's such a nice guy. He lost. He got bullied in this fight. He got bullied in this fight. And let me just put this into perspective. Robert Whittaker did worse against Dricus du Plessis than Darren Till. 1-5 in his last 6 fights, Darren Till, and the dead corpse of 38-year-old Derek Brunson. Prime Robert Whittaker did way worse against Dricus than 1-5 in his last 6 Darren Till and the 38-year-old dead corpse of Derek Brunson. That is wild. That is wild. This was very hard to predict. And if you picked Rob, if you picked Dricus, you picked Rob. This is a fight where no one expected that. And I know I picked it, but I was shocked. I was absolutely shocked. I'm not going to act like I was profound, like, oh my, I knew. I'm such a good predictor. I mean, look at the rest of my predictions on the channel. I did terrible. So I apologize to anyone that took my advice on this card, but, and then we got to talk about it. So I know there's Dricus fans that go on the hottest, like the whole he's the true African king thing. And I'm an African. I was born in Africa. I play onto those jokes. They're funny. I don't think it's offensive. I don't, anything like that. They're funny jokes, And Dricus is an African. He's 100% an African, born and raised in Africa. He lives in Africa. He resides in Africa, works in Africa, trains in Africa. He's an African. If he becomes champ, he'll be an African champ. I don't want an asterisk next to there. Oh, he's a white African or something like that. White people can be African. I have friends in Africa that are white. They are Africans. They live in Africa, born in Africa. They're white. And not even just from South Africa, from other countries in Africa. And I don't want to hear all this nonsense about Colin. We're not going to get into that. We're not going to get into politics, dude. No, they don't have time for that. But I understand that there's this whole thing. I don't want to listen to that. Obviously Dricus and Adesanya are going to be fighting next, likely on the UFC 293 card. I do not want to hear, and I don't know about you guys, but I don't want to hear that. Them yelling at each other. Across. Dana White sitting in the middle at the press conference. Two grown men. Looking around the podium that Dana White stands on, looking at each other to get a good look at each other while they're yelling at, oh, I'm the real African. No, I'm the real African. I don't want to see that. I hope you guys don't want to see it. I guess, there's memes. Dricus is going to say, I'm the true African.
And Izzy's gonna say, "Oh, I'm gonna go to South Africa and drag your corpse across the country and send you back to England or whatever." I don't want to see that, guys. I hope you guys don't want to see it. It's immature, it's corny, it's cringy. And then Israel Adesanya, I understand that he was drunk, but that was so cringe and corny. Let me just say this right now. I absolutely hate when a fighter wins, like Aljamain Sterling. He beats Henry Cejudo, and then they bring Sean O'Malley into the octagon. Look what happened when, with the whole Brock Lesnar and Daniel Cormier situation. It's so corny. It's so cringy. I never want to see it happen again. And it never goes well. It never has gone well. The only time it's gone well was Volkanovski versus Makhachev, because they're two very respectful guys. They enjoy watching each other fight. They both cheer for each other in their fights. Islam's tweeting out, congratulations, brother. Good luck this week. All the kind of stuff. They like each other. They're cool blokes. I respect Islam greatly. I respect Volkanovski greatly. I love both fighters. Those are two respectful guys. When you have two guys that hate each other, especially two guys that hate each other that don't have skills on the mic, I don't want to see them get. Dude, imagine if Leon Edwards beat Usman, and then they brought Colby into the octagon, and Colby started calling Leon Edwards daddy and doing the daddy. Dude, I don't want to see that. I don't want to see that. I don't know about you guys. I hope you guys are mature enough to not want to see that. And it's embarrassing. It's cringy. It's corny. I don't want to ever see that. But Israel Adesanya, I know he was drunk, but he's just sitting there yelling the N word. Dude, that was so corny. It's so disappointing. And also, before I continue, I don't want people to try to discredit Dricus' win tonight. I don't want people to be like, oh, Whitaker isn't the same. Whitaker's 32 years old. He's coming off of one of the best wins of his entire career. Absolutely, there's a fly there. Absolutely dominating Marvin Vettori. Absolutely dominating Marvin Vettori in his last fight. Was supposed to fight Paulo Costa. I think he would have destroyed Paulo Costa. This version of Whitaker right now, I still think would destroy Paulo Costa. Because Paulo Costa is not Dricus du Plessis. The S is silent. And, I think Dricus is very underrated. I think he improved. I think he improved significantly. His cardio looked better. His takedown looked phenomenal. His ground control looked great. And, Whitaker did look off, but I don't think it was because training camp. I think that he felt the power of Dricus in some of those shots in the first round. He got taken down. He got bloodied up. He felt the strength of Dricus. I know people are thinking like I'm joking. No, I actually think this. People are going to call me delusional in the comments probably, but I'm always going to come on this channel and speak my mind. I'm always going to come on this channel and speak my mind. I'm never going to lie to you guys or anything like that. Just to, be more in line with whatever the popular opinion is. Oh no, Whitaker's washed. Whitaker's career's over. Dricus beat washed Whitaker. Whitaker. Dricus du Plessis did more damage to Robert Whitaker in 2 rounds than Israel Adesanya, Marvin Vettori, Jared Cannonier, and who else that, I mean, his finish over Robert Whitaker was almost as dominant and as brutal as Israel Adesanya's finish over Robert Whitaker. You know what I mean? Like, Robert Whitaker took more damage in 2 rounds from Dricus du Plessis than he did in 5 rounds, that all combined. 5 rounds with Kelvin Gastelum, 3 rounds with Jared Cannonier, 3 rounds with Marvin Vettori, and another 5 rounds with Israel Adesanya in the rematch. He did more. Dricus du Plessis did more damage in 2 rounds than all of that combined, dude. All of that combined. He dropped him badly with a jab, finished him up, beat the brakes off of him, absolutely dominated, shut him down. And Dricus du Plessis has cemented himself as someone that we cannot overlook. Moving on, Dan Hooker had a career resurgence. I don't want to give Dricus du Plessis his fair shake in this fight because I do think, and I probably could be coping here, I'm sorry, guys, I have to. I do think Jalen Turner was drained because of the weight cut. I do think he was. He missed weight. He looked absolutely terrible. He looked so gassed. There was nothing in the fight that would have gassed him out that badly. I mean, he was grappling hard with Gamrot for 3 rounds, and he wasn't even remotely that gassed. And he was so gassed. He was so hurt. the weight cut clearly, dude, he's got to move up. He's 6'3". Think about it like this: Charles Oliveira is a huge lightweight. Charles is 5'11". Dustin's a huge lightweight. Dustin's 5'10". Jalen Turner is 6'3". He's as tall as Israel Adesanya in the middleweight division. And honestly, if he fills out, he would be the same size as Israel Adesanya. You know what I mean? He's got to move up. He's so fast. He's so powerful. I just don't see him being able to make lightweight again. After that, you're getting finished. You know, I know the fight went to decision, but you're getting finished by Dan Hooker. You're not going. No. You're done at lightweight. So those are my thoughts on that fight. I don't want to give Dan Hooker his fair shake. I never will. Dan Hooker lied about Islam Makhachev, and I'm going to shout this out when I do a breakdown of this fight later tonight probably. But if you haven't seen it already, and I'm going to put it at the top of the screen somewhere around here, you know, the link that pops up, go watch MMA Joey's video. Good friend of mine, he's helped me with the channel significantly. Go watch his video talking about Dan Hooker's absolutely delusional comments about the whole Islam Makhachev thing when he went on the Ariel Helwani podcast. And then Volkanovski's manager went on the Ariel Helwani podcast and didn't look as stupid, but still looked stupid. And, you know, I'm not going to spoil it. I'm not going to, you know, I'm not going to take out too much of what he said from that video because I don't want to seem like I'm copying him. But go watch that video. And that will perfectly explain to you why I don't like Dan Hooker, why I absolutely hate Dan Hooker. Go watch it, get his likes up, go like his video, subscribe. It's one of my favorite videos from his channel. Very well made, absolutely hilarious. You'll have a good time. If you haven't already subscribed to him, go subscribe to him right now. Show him some support. I know my channel's pretty small, and a lot of you subscribing came from his channel, but if there's any of you out there that haven't already subscribed to him, go do so. He's helped me tremendously with my channel so far. He's given me tips. He's continuing to help me. So any help, anything I can do to, you know, give any support back is, you know, something I cherish greatly. I'm very appreciative of everything he's done. So, great YouTuber, a great guy. Go watch his content. It's awesome. And then moving down, you know, I don't want to talk too much about that Dan Hooker fight. Moving down to the final fight on the main card, which is all I'm going to be talking about in this video. Bo Nickel finishes Val Woodbourne in 38 seconds. This was an interesting fight. But the moment it started, like, I was thinking, like, okay, obviously Bo Nickel's going to win. But then I was like, okay, is it going to be one of those moments where the prospect gets exposed? Big uppercut from Val. Bo Nickel was onto that. Bo Nickel was levels ahead. And that's not saying much because Val Woodbourne's not that good. But Bo Nickel looked very impressive tonight. I'm not going to go out and, you know, I hate when people see that. There's one good performance. Like, oh, this guy beats this guy. This guy beats this guy. You know, one good performance against Josh Emmett from Yair Rodriguez. And people are saying, oh, he's going to dominate Volk. He's going to drop in the head kicks. Volk won't be able to do anything. Volk beat the brakes off of him. Volk bitched Yair. You know, if I'm Yair's family, I'd be crying after that first round. I'd be bawling my eyes out from minute 1 to the last minute until it got finished. Even after it, dude, I'd be bawling my eyes out. Dude, I hate when this happens because I know what's going to happen. People are going to be like, oh, you doubted him. He couldn't take down Jamie Pickett. He fought Val Woodbourne in his UFC debut. Val Woodbourne. There's no way anyone is trying to take any serious opinions from that fight. He fought Val Woodbourne, man. That's worse. Do you know what Jamie Pickett would do to Val Woodbourne? Jamie Pickett just got dominated by Bo Nickel at UFC 285. Do you know what he would do to Val Woodbourne? Not as bad as what Bo Nickel did, because Bo Nickel proved to be the superior fighter in both those fights. But you know what I'm saying. Val Woodbourne's a bum, and I'm not going to hype Bo Nickel up too much from that win, but still an impressive win. He looks great. He looks very fast, very explosive. He looks smart. He looked technical and smart. He did get caught a little bit on the feet, I believe, by like one hook. But still, he looked improved. He looked improved, and that's all I care about. He still won't admit that he still won't admit that he need Jamie Pickett in the balls. So it's on camera. There's not really much you can do to deny that it happened. But, you know, I'm still happy for him. And great win. I really hope he emerges as a serious prospect in the top 5. And gives Adesanya or Dricus, whoever's champion, you know, some real threat. Maybe Hamzat's champion. We'll never know. But I'm glad we got Dreykus. You know, we got Bo Nickel emerging. You know, we got Hamza entering the mix at some point. Ikram entering the mix soon at some point. Sean Strickland. You know, if Alex Mejita was still here and Rob was on a win streak, it'd be, you know, even better. But you know, I'm still happy with where we're at right now in the middleweight division. I'm happy, not right now, but soon to come. I'm interested to see what's going to happen. You know, but Sean Strickland and Dreykus Duplessis are really emerging as huge threats to Israel Adesanya right now. So I'm very huge threats. Don't take my words wrong. I'm not saying that I pick them to beat Adesanya. I'm just saying that they are guys that could beat Adesanya. Don't take my words in the wrong context there. But you know, thank you guys. If you've watched the 25 minutes of me talking about UFC 290 International Fight Week, I'm so happy if you watched this entire card. This is amazing. I was shedding tears at some point. I'm going to talk about that in some later videos, but thank you guys for all the support. You guys have been blowing me up, giving me subscribers, views, and this just means so much to me. I hope you guys know that. And like, shout out to MMA Joey, shout out to everyone from Joey's crew that's helped me out. Dude, I could not be happier, dude. You guys are so awesome. You guys have helped me. Dude, I couldn't imagine just like a week ago that I was gonna be sitting in front of a camera, making videos, talking to you guys about my MMA opinions. I never would have thought. And now I'm doing it here, and I could not be happier. I'm so thankful to all you guys that have been supporting me, liking the videos, commenting, subscribing. Thank you guys. You know, keep doing it. Keep up the support. I love you all so much. I've been replying to all the comments. I've been staying active. It's not a hard job to do. You know, there's not a lot of you, but the ones that are there, you guys are very supportive, and I'm so grateful for that. You know, you guys, truly, I said this like 20 times in a row now, but I'm so grateful for you guys. You guys are awesome. You guys are helping me live my dream, man. I'm so happy. But thank you guys. I'm so tired, but I'm going to keep grinding content tonight. This content may not be uploaded till a little bit later in the morning, you know, like maybe 2, 3 a.m., but I'll try my best to get it out as soon as possible. Thank you guys all, and I will see you in the next one.